have a lot to cover in today's video. We're going to get into Jameson Williams' maturity level. He spoke. Love seeing the progress from this young man. Ben Johnson, contract potentially coming out if he becomes a head coach, what he wants to get yearly value. It's a ton of money there. We're going to get into the injury report for the Detroit Lions and Minnesota Vikings for the game on Sunday. Could the Lions face the Rams in the playoffs? We're going to talk about it in Lions playoff clinching scenarios. Let's start here, though, with Ben Johnson. Report coming out from ESPN that he wants to get $15 million a year as a head coach after this season if he were to become a head coach. However, his agent is right now denying the report, so we don't really know what's true or not. What does this mean to me? First off, he wants to get generational wealth for him and his family. Totally understand that. Everybody would like to get that, the best value for the work that is done. But $15 million a year would make him the third highest paying coach, and maybe teams are unwilling to pay that. So potentially he could stay in Detroit if that is really the amount that he wants to get. What if he just really likes Detroit and the only way for him to leave is if you really give him a dump load of money? And so he's like, you know, we'll do $15 million. If not, I don't care. I'm happy in Detroit. That's very possible because Ben Johnson had an opportunity probably last year to become a head coach for the Carolina Panthers. He turned it down to stay in Detroit. So we don't really know the situation, what's going on in his head. All we know is Lions fans want him to come back. So I got a question for you. Will Ben Johnson become a head coach in 2024? Y for yes and N for no. Blow up the comment section. I want to see what you think. Let's get into Jameson Williams' maturity level, and it's awesome to see he just spoke to the media. He says, I feel like it's just been part of life. You just got to grow up, Williams said about maturing. So I feel like it's just what I had to be done. I grew up, just had to do some things differently from what I was doing, and I just had to change a lot of things. And that is outstanding from Jameson Williams. I love seeing the growth of this young man, and he's getting better on and off the field every single week. Generally speaking, a lot of wide receivers are divas. I think the fans got a wrong idea about him when we drafted him that he would be a diva. He has shown nothing of that being a Detroit Lion. If you listen to his interviews, he is all about the team, and he's showing it. Yes, he's young. Yes, he's made mistakes as a young guy, but we all have made mistakes, and you're seeing the growth week in and week out from Jameson Williams on and off the field. He's showing himself as more young, mature adult, and he's getting better with the plays. He's catching every football, and Jared Goff said it himself, I trust Jameson Williams. This is a massive big win for the Lions because we needed this guy to show out. A lot of the media dumped on him when we got him. A lot of the media continued to dump on him throughout the last 2 years, and now he's really starting to show out. So he could have took either way, right? He could have been like, you know what, I'm done with this team. I'm done with the media. I'm not in this anymore. I just want to be done. I'm going to be a whiny little baby. Or I'm going to take it and just continue to strive going forward. When he was an adult about it, and now the fruits of his labor is taking place, and I absolutely love it. So huge shout out to Jameson Williams. Throw a number 9 in the comment section to show love to JMO. I do want to talk about today's sponsor today. That's Factor Meals, the #1 ready-to-eat delivery kit in America that can help you fill up on breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. This is chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. The holidays are here, and if you are too busy to plan out and cook meals like a lot of us are, and you want to eat well, then you need to get Factor. Factor will do that. You'll be ready to skip the trip to the grocery store. You don't need to worry about the preparation for chopping, cleaning up, throwing scraps away, and waiting in the oven for hours. Factor is fresh and never frozen meals. They're ready in just minutes because of their professional chefs already prepared for meals for you. Place in the microwave, take a couple of minutes, and you are good to go. If you're someone who travels in, on, and go for work, they have grain bowls, salad toppers, microwave meals you can have as well. Smoothies, so even if you don't have an access to a microwave, Factor is going to have you covered. Get started today. Factormeals.com/LionsChat50. That's Factormeals.com/LionsChat50. Code LionsChat. That will get you 50% off this holiday season. Take advantage of the limited time offer. Delicious meals, healthy, and you don't have to spend all the time cooking it yourself. factormeals.com/LionsChat50. Use code LionsChat50. We got a big game that's taking place on Sunday here. And again, before we get into the injury report, if you don't know, Lions are favored by 3.5 points. And the total over and under is 47 points. Let's go ahead and jump into this injury report really quick here. We're going to start with the Detroit Lions here. And Lions are very, very healthy. Look, there's only 3 players that didn't practice yesterday. Frank Ragnow, that's just simply a veteran rest day. He is healthy. Brock Wright didn't practice, and Jerry Jacobs did not practice. Brock Wright, number 2, tight end for the Lions. Jerry Jacobs, he was benched. Limited in practice was Jason Cabinda. He started his evaluation, and everybody else was good to go. Penei Sewell, good to go. They will all be playing on Sunday, and that's fantastic news for Detroit Lions. We've got to have Penei Sewell out there. Penei Sewell is our right tackle, and he's the meat and bones of this whole team, I kind of feel like. But it's a little bit different for the Minnesota Vikings. They are banged up and tore up from the floor up. Danielle Hunter, he's just sick. I expect him to play. But you got Alexander Mattison, Byron Murphy, Jalen Naylor, Brian O'Neill, their right tackle, did not practice. And when I was talking to the Vikings guys, and they're saying that O'Neill's probably not going to be playing this game, and that's a big deal for the Lions. That is huge because he is their stud on the offensive line. If he doesn't play, that is rut row. That is rut row. And they're just dealing with a lot of injuries right there. And so Lions are healthy. They are not. Does it mean that the Lions automatically going to win? No, we've seen multiple times where that's not the case here. But I got a question for you. Who do you got winning this game on Sunday? Put DET for the Detroit Lions. Put MIN for the Minnesota Vikings. The Rams won last night, and it is very possible that the Detroit Lions will host the playoff game, and the Rams will be the team who they faced. And that sucks. Matthew Stafford, obviously former Lions quarterback, he was killer yesterday. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 30 for 22 win over the Saints. Man, and so far this year, he's having a good year. 3,648 yards, 23 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, a QBR of 65.6, 5th in the National Football League. The Rams right now, they're having a nice little resurgence this year by getting a rookie called Puka Nacua, who's just a phenomenal job. Obviously, you know Stafford's throwing the football around, and he's getting one of them right there. Their offense is high-powered, and they got a pretty good defense, and so it is very possible, with them being 8-7 right now, that the Detroit Lions would have to face former Lions quarterback Matthew Stafford in the playoffs for the first game on Wild Card Weekend. I'm not a big fan of this. I really don't want to see this. I don't want to see Stafford playoff game 1 for the Detroit Lions. I have watched Matthew Stafford for a long time when he's the Detroit Lions, just so all of you, and we all know what he can do. It's called a Stafford comeback. We've seen the memes. We've seen it where out of nowhere, there could be 30 seconds left in a game, and he comes and wins the game. I really don't want to see that. And I don't want to deal with the drama that's going to come with it, with the Kelly Stafford and the media. My, oh my, it's going to be a big circus if that is the case. And look, you can look at it the other way around is, well, Jared Goff's facing off with Sean McVay. It's a revenge game for Jared Goff because they're the one that traded Jared Goff, and Stafford asked to be traded. That is true. That is true. With that said, I don't want to deal with it. I don't. Look, if we got to face the Rams, I'd rather do it in the second preseason game. I would rather, personally, from my personal opinion, we lost on Thanksgiving to the Green Bay Packers. I would love to face the Green Bay Packers back at home on Wild Card Weekend and just plow them down. You know, I'm not a big fan of the Green Bay Packers. They've beaten on us, and I still have a nasty taste in my mouth from the Thanksgiving Day game. That's the team I'd like to face, personally. Or the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Lions would roll over the Atlanta Falcons. It would be close to a bye week. Now, there's some of you that's going to say, well, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And I agree. That is definitely something I agree. But I do want to get a win for the first time in 30 years. So I got a question for you. Do you want to face Matthew Stafford in the playoffs, first game of the year? Y for yes and N for no. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And with the Rams winning, how can the Lions not make the playoffs? Well, it's quite difficult right now for the Detroit Lions to not make the playoffs. But here's what it would look like. For the Lions to miss the playoffs, they would have to lose out. So lose the Vikings, Cowboys, Vikings, right there. That's what that would have to happen. Then the Vikings would have to defeat the Green Bay Packers. Then the Rams would have to defeat the Giants and 49ers. Then the Seahawks would have to win out. That is extremely unlikely for something like this to occur. Now, it's in the realm of possible. It sure is in the realm of possibility. But it's also completely, extremely unlikely. What are the odds of all these things happening? It's got to be maybe like 1 out of 500,000. I can't assume that the odds are really high for something like this. Extremely unlikely. First off, Seattle's struggling a little bit. Rams to beat the 49ers, that would be tough. It means that the Vikings would win out and the Lions would lose out. So that's quite difficult. So it looks like the Detroit Lions are definitely making the playoffs. But for the Lions, obviously, to win the NFC North, it is really simple. The Lions got to win one game or the Vikings got to lose one game. That is simple. And you face the Vikings twice. To end all the speculation, this one is really, really simple for the Detroit Lions. To end this all is on Sunday. Go to Minnesota and win. You go to Minnesota and win. That stuff ends. Then we could talk about seeding. We could talk about the number 2 seed because the Lions do control their destiny with the number 2 seed because we face Dallas Cowboys. So if the Lions were to win out, they will get the number 2 seed at worst. That's the worst they could get is the number 2 seed if they win out. They have the tiebreaker of the Eagles because of the conference wins if the Lions were to win out. Obviously, you face Dallas, so that it doesn't really matter in the East right there. And look, you still have a chance of the number 1 seed. It seems unlikely. The 49ers would have to lose 2 out of 3 games. Now possible because they face the Rams and they face the Baltimore Ravens. But I still think it's the number 3 or 2 seed. But hey, make sure you guys are ready for Sunday. We're going to be live for the Lions and Vikings game. Big game, biggest game for me, at least in the 30 years, because they can win the NFC North on Sunday. With that said, folks, adios.